Welcome to episode 9 of lesson 2, Lights and Shadows. Let's step it up. In this part of the lesson, I want to talk with you about the core ingredients of this method. Actually, this is one of my favorites and it's a unique experience because, let me remind you, the light is your best friend. It's kind of your partner on the way to good photo storytelling. So why does it work? You have heard about it, I bet 100 times. Photography is all about the lighting. I'm gonna take you through my workflow and what I do during the shooting actually. I'll show you a few simple steps, techniques, pro tips, and some really good personal tricks. But before that, let's talk about defining light really quickly. I call it shooting into the light. And don't forget about the shadows. Tip number 2, frame. Use a type of the frame that helps you make your shot more cinematic. Please communicate through the frame by using medium shot, long shot, and close-up portrait shot. Here is a palette of the photographs from the same location as before. As you notice, the key to a complete attractive shot lies in a simple framing. So let me teach you how to practice that one. If it's a portrait or medium shot, try to show some space around by using composition like 2/3 for the space environment. You will definitely get a balanced shot photography. Tip number 3, exposure. Using less light in the frame by setting the exposure. So definitely play with exposure. Adjust your exposure to be darker. I love to call that shooting into the light. Now I want to talk to you more about the advanced level, the voice that matters, my tricks. Trick number 1, enhance your picture by bringing the color. It's like fresh air for the viewer to draw more attention to your hero of the frame. I guess these tips will spark your creativity. Trick number 2, mix the factors, like soft and hard. Kind of design environment, play with the texture, bring some small details, fabrics, paper, plastic, wood, concrete, even glass. Looks like you are trying to pay attention to their materiality. As you see, from my samples, we have mixed textures, like soft and hard, like solid and liquid, or delicate and brush. Take this one deeply in detail. There is a glass cup, coffee as a liquid, a fabric facture on the sofa, and a human behind in the shadow. It's kind of a perfect combo. As you can see, the light and shadows give you some perfect vibe of the situation that you see. Lesson number 6, Editing Fundamentals, Application Tools. Photo apps world, tips and tricks, everything you need to know to start editing your photos. I want to share with you my photo kit tools. This is an episode 10 that is dedicated to using only the grain tool. So let's get started on your creative journey with adding an analog texture with a grain. But first, just take a look at this simple example with some cool workflow with the usage of a grain tool at the end. So what is a grain? Black and white photos are also great candidates for the texture grain, provided as this is a very classic film look. I want to go with you through a few of my favorite examples here. As you see, these are the greatest candidates for adding grain film style. A lot of negative space like the sky or the tree above the hero, or even inside. The grain tool is typically used solely, especially on color images. Trying pushing it to the point where it looks obviously too strong and then dial it back. However, there are no rules here. You can see this in my samples. I would say this tool is one of my magic powers. Tips: insightful image editing advice. Tip number 1: pinch to zoom in to see the effect of the grain tool in a better detail. Tip number 2: images with a noise can get even noisier with this tool. Try to use care when using low light images.